Ladies and gentlemen, what happens if you're a social media company, a giant, let's say, and you've just banned President Trump, but more importantly than that, you're actually banned in the most populous country in the world. So Twitter is banned in the most populous country in the world. Twitter's officially blocked. However, many people circumvent the block to use it. The official account of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of course, I'm talking about the largest country in the world with the Great Wall, and just for the algorithm, let's just keep it at the most populous country in the world. That will surpass the United States in terms of GDP in about 20 years, less than that. Okay. That is the greatest market in the world. They're banned. Twitter is. They were officially blocked in 2011 or 2009. Okay. Now you have the second most populous country in the world in India, and a beautiful country with an amazing history and a very good prime minister, excellent prime minister. Narendra Modi did a really great thing, or I should say the High Court in New Delhi really protected India from a platform I consider a scourge on the planet. Twitter can no longer effectively do business in the second most populous country in the world and the second greatest market in the world. So the largest market in the world, they're banned. The second largest market in the world, they can't do business because they lost their immunity. So Twitter loses immunity over user-generated content in India due to non-compliance. So they're done. They're pretty much done in the second greatest market in the world. They don't have access to the largest market in the world. And the reason I'm explaining this in the following manner is I want to give a bird's eye perspective. Okay? They just lost a landmark case. They're not making that much profit, but they're this monstrosity of a company. They're not growing that much. I mean, you have to rely on their you have to really take their word pertaining to how many users or the rate of the how fast they're growing. Okay? Because they've come up with their own metric. It's monetizable users, something like that. This sounds boring, but it's like actually paradigm changing. So hit subscribe to this channel. There's a method to the madness here. I'm trying to explain. I'll just read you Reuters. Twitter loses immunity over user-generated content in India. They're pretty much done in a country that will surpass us in terms of economic growth within 20 years. India will surpass the United States. Okay? Numerous economic models show this. Okay? We'll be third in the world. After the country with the Great Wall, most populous country in the world, and India, the second most populous country in the world. If they are liable for content, you better believe Twitter cannot be profitable in the second most populous country in the world. Why is that important? Because if you're growing as a social media platform, you need to be in these locations. Furthermore, there's nothing of value that you can gain from owning a Twitter account. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Get this segment going everywhere. Don't take any financial advice from me. I know nothing. I know nothing about anything. But I will tell you something. This is a phenomenal paradigm-changing moment. And I don't know if It didn't really hit me yesterday, but the more I think about it, President Trump will get the final laugh. Okay? He'll hopefully he comes back in 2024. If that happens, you'll probably see the end of Twitter within his second term or second chance at the Oval Office in 2024. Hopefully, I would like record low unemployment, and I would like a president who reversed U.S. foreign policy almost single-handedly. That's why our beloved President Biden is bringing home Americans. Not because of his decision. He got us there. With Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, the Lincoln Project people are voting alongside Bernie Sanders. The Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people are voting alongside Bernie Sanders for the same political party, the Democratic Party. Okay, so that should tell you something about American politics. Anyway, I would love President Trump back. Infinitely better than soaring crime, inflation, and a whole bunch of problems that we didn't have under President Trump. With our beloved, charismatic, and very, very lucid, and very, very, he's very much aware of what's going on, president. Anyway, the statement is the first time Prime Minister Narendra Modi administration has officially said Twitter has lost its immunity after repeatedly criticizing the company for non-compliance. Okay, so this is Reuters. I'll put the link below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I will have a live stream today at about 2:30 p.m., 3 p.m. Pacific. So be here for the live stream. I have a live stream every single day. If you want to support my voice or my work, or if you my viewpoints or this channel long term, my Patreon is below in the pinned comment. H.A. Goodman's other channel is below in the pinned comment. I have an amazing segment on H.A. Goodman's other channel on this very topic. But just if I spent too long trying to give you a bird's eye perspective, just hear me out on this. So this is actually an interesting article. Simply Wall Street. We think Twitter can stay on top of its debt. April 8th, 2021. Okay, so this was before the landmark loss, the legal catastrophe, the epic, monumental disaster that took place. And in fact, there was one Twitter employee that they threatened to arrest if he didn't show up to the police station. I mean, it's serious, very serious. But here, how much debt does Twitter carry? As you can see below, at the end of December 2021, Twitter had $3.49 billion of debt, up from $2.51 billion. So, as of December, the debt was increasing. However, its balance sheet shows it holds $7.47 billion in cash, so it actually has $3.99 billion net cash. But it doesn't have access to the two largest markets in the world. And how many young people, at least Facebook has Instagram, Microsoft has a whole bunch of things, Facebook has more than just Instagram, and so I haven't had a Twitter account in 3 years, I haven't had a Facebook account in 3 years, but I can tell you that, I mean, both platforms are horrendous, but Twitter's a glorified message board that is this dystopian nightmare, this cyber nightmare, where rules are completely arbitrary, and generally, the people who run Twitter always vote Democrat, and the rules and the guidelines and the protocols always happen to benefit one political party. It is probably the worst thing you could ever do in terms of a digital or cyber platform. Like Twitter is just a place for endless arguments, a place to waste time. The second you type something on Twitter is a second you will never get back again in your life. And those seconds go into minutes, and those minutes turn to hours. because somebody says something to you and you get into an argument and a dispute on Twitter, and then it's a cyber reality where even a person in Iowa, young man, can raise $1 million for a children's hospital. And because of a tweet 10 years prior, the beer company that was sponsoring him, that he raised the money through, would part ways simply because a journalist, quote unquote, found out that this man wrote a tweet 10 years prior. So the beer company says, oh, well, this doesn't reflect our values. Meanwhile, the person raised $1 million, did the most amazing deed, most beautiful thing ever, helped a tremendous amount of people. Amazing karma, wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm sure God looks down very happy for this man and what he did. And he's quote unquote canceled. And guess what? The journalist that uncovered this amazing revelation was then fired for past tweets of his own. Of course, that type of thing doesn't usually happen to pundits on the left because their writing that's offensive always gets disregarded, or it's always a plot from a conservative to get them, to experience the same repercussions from their words that they wrote. It's always, oh, I got you, we have you, you said something that was not civil or that was inappropriate a decade ago, so we're going to ruin your life. Twitter has become that type of thing. Anyway, their debt is increasing, or they have a tremendous amount of debt, and you can say their balance sheet is healthy, you can say their balance sheet is has risks and things you should stay focused on, but at the end of the day, President Trump's going to get the last laugh. Reason being, they very likely had to change business practice, alter business practices to make up for the traffic that Trump brought to the platform. This is just my theory or my humble take on things. I really don't care if people disagree with me. But you ban President Trump, and then 7-8 months later, you lose a landmark case in India for non-compliance. You knew you had to comply. And unlike Twitter's own protocols, there are laws. There's the rule of law in India that you must abide by if you are anybody, but especially a social media behemoth. You don't abide by those rules, those protocols, those laws. Numerous times you are non-compliant. And so you basically now lost your ability to do business in the second most populous country in the world and the second greatest market in the world. Congratulations. And this was after banning President Trump for alleging that his words caused mayhem and chaos when you yourself as a platform is apparently embroiled in some major legal issues within India and within the second most populous country in the world and the second greatest economy, soon to be the second greatest economy in the world within 20 years. How on earth is this social media platform going to be around when they can't do business in the most important countries? And how on earth is this social media platform going to be around when you've alienated 74 million Americans? Furthermore, there's no way to ensure or back up any statement regarding user growth. You tell me. If I'm wrong about that, you tell me. How do you know? How on earth do you know? How do you know if Twitter users are growing? You have to trust the company. There's no way to back that up. So that's another major issue. And it's a platform that's really not going to be alive any longer. And Trump started the downfall. It became a tool of one political party. And it became a venue or a forum for apoplectic, but always morally superior, vengeful, but always just liberal Democrats who devoted their lives, endless hours, I mean easily 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day from some people, and some left-leaning politicians on that platform to just spew venom and contempt and disdain for Trump and anyone who supports President Trump. It's really become a platform for that purpose, which serves the purposes of one political party. So it's a one-trick pony in terms of a dystopian cyber reality. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. To my viewers in India, thank you so very much for watching. I know I have viewers in India, and I'm proud and so happy that you're watching. And God bless your country. God bless your Prime Minister Modi. And thank you for, how do I say this? Thank you for saving the planet and the United States of America by protecting your country from a very, very, from a dystopian cyber reality that many people just devote their lives to. Give me your thoughts below, everyone. Hit subscribe to this channel. Be here at about 2:33 p.m. Pacific today for the live stream.